along west-facing coasts. As we go into Monday then, it will be a frost-free start, a relatively mild start, but a grey one. Now into Monday, quite a lot of cloud around to begin with. Again, the thickest of the cloud with some drizzle out to the west, but there could be a little bit more of a breeze, and that may well break up the cloud across central and eastern England. We'll need to watch out for an odd isolated shower developing, but as a result of that, temperatures might be a little warmer, so highs of 9 to 11 degrees in Scotland, 12 to 15 Celsius in the far south and east. We pretty much do it all again on Tuesday, again chasing cloud amounts around, again a little bit of drizzle. So I'll move on to Wednesday because weather fronts will start to push in from the Atlantic. The isobars squeeze together, the winds will strengthen. We're going to see gusts of winds in excess of 40 miles an hour in Scotland. It will bring some rain which will slowly clear away from the southeast of England during the day on Wednesday, and then it's going to introduce something noticeably fresher. So towards the end of the week, any showers that we get to higher ground in Scotland could be wintry in nature. So all change, and as I said to my children, be careful what you wish for.
Well, it doesn't sound like we're going to miss anything in the way of weather, does it?
No. The question has become more urgent. How do we sort fact from fiction? How can we believe what we see?
Here drama returns.
That is not the shooting I saw. Why am I the only one who saw something?
You think this is conviction?
Yes, sir. The news footage has been tape-played.
Do you trust their judgment?
I don't trust period.
Are you serious on the council?
Famous for whatever things make
You can't hack a memory.
Stranger things have happened. It starts tonight on BBC iPlayer.
On 92 to 95 FM, on BBC Sounds, and on your smart speaker. This is BBC Radio 4.
Welcome to the world this weekend. This is Edward Sutton. Iranians describe another night of bombardment as fires break out across the country.
There are a lot of fighter jets tonight. Where I am, we've already had at least 5 or 6 explosions just now. I'm freaking out.
Here, Keir Starmer has been condemned for his approach again by President Trump, and now by Tony Blair, who said the UK should have backed the United States from the first.
I think it's deeply unhelpful, actually, if a former Prime Minister provides a running commentary on a current Prime Minister's decisions and actions. Keir's the one in the room. Keir's the one who's getting the briefings and discussing it with the current cabinet, with the current situation.
Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper stressed the need to learn the lessons in the Iraq War. What were those lessons, and how can they inform our understanding of the current conflict? We'll hear from Jack Straw, who was Foreign Secretary at the time.
What Donald Trump has done is created chaos because war is chaos. After a while, he will declare victory and others will be left to pick up the pieces. It's perfectly possible that you're going to get the breakout of a near civil war.
BBC News read by Vijay Alice.
Iran is expected to reveal its successor to Ayatollah Ali Khamenei as the country's next supreme leader. Reports say the Assembly of Experts has reached a decision, but there has been no formal announcement. Iran and Israel have also continued to exchange fire. The latest from our World News correspondent, Joe Winwood.
In Tehran, the smoke from the oil fields filled the sky. The fires have been started by waves of airstrikes, seemingly targeting one of Iran's key industries. Rivers of flames could be seen running through the capital. This was the aftermath of the 8th night of this war. The first night had seen the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, killed in his compound. It now seems his replacement has been decided. We don't know the name, but the decision could give an indication of Iran's wider strategy. That strategy, so far, has been to spread the cost of this conflict to US allies across the Gulf.
The Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has said Sir Keir Starmer is standing up for Britain's interests after President Trump renewed his criticism of the Prime Minister's decision not to allow the US to use UK bases for initial strikes on Iran. Mr. Trump said the UK was now considering sending aircraft carriers to the Middle East, but as he put it, we don't need people that join wars after we've already won. Ms. Cooper said Britain wouldn't outsource its foreign policy. We join now by our political correspondent David Ricketts.
Responding to yet another barb from Donald Trump, the Foreign Secretary said it was for the US President to decide what was in the US national interest, and for the UK to decide what was in the UK's national interest. Speaking on Sunday with Republicans, Ms Cooper said some wanted the UK to agree some thought we should never go along with America. Sir Keir was doing the right thing, protecting British citizens and partner nations. The Conservative Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp told Sky News that he believed the UK should be joining in offensive actions against Iran and accused the government of being weak. From UK's Robert Jenrick told the BBC that RAF pilots should not be flying missions over Iran, but he maintained the UK had been too slow to deploy warships to the region.
China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has described the war between Iran and Israel as a conflict which should never have happened, but he didn't mention any concerns about global oil supplies. Our China correspondent Stephen Dunlop reports from Beijing.
Wang Yi could have used much stronger language to attack the US war in the Middle East, but with President Trump due here in the coming months, he didn't. Instead, his comments have been seen by analysts as rather muted, so as to not jeopardise the upcoming visit. While he did say that the war should never have happened, the highly scripted press conference, featuring rehearsed answers to screened questions, didn't mention the impact of the conflict on world oil supplies, which has especially hit China's imports. The Foreign Minister did, however, use the event to promote China as a stabilising force in an uncertain world.
Home Office figures show that 114 migrants arrived in the UK in small boats yesterday, taking the total so far this year to more than 3,000. That's almost 700 fewer than at the same point last year. Astronomy weather sees while the French maritime police have begun intercepting boats at sea. Ministers in the Ukrainian government have called on organisers of the arts and cultural event, the Venice Biennale, to reconsider a decision to allow Russia to participate this year. A ban was lifted Wednesday.
Use the right lane to take the slip road to M6.
Censorship. Officials in Australia's Northern Territory have warned
Use the right lane to take the slip road to
because
M6.
vulnerabilities are absolutely everywhere. Helicopters and aircraft have been deployed to help move 40,000 people to emergency shelters.
Meiji, thank you. President Trump doesn't readily forgive what he regards as slights to the United States. Overnight, he returned to Sir Keir Starmer's initial reluctance to give America unfettered access to British bases. His posting on social media is read by one of our producers.
The United Kingdom, our once great ally, maybe the greatest of them all, is finally giving serious thought to sending 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East. That's okay, Prime Minister Starmer. We don't need them any longer, but we will remember. We don't need people that join wars after we've already won.
And especially a welcome comment that, in view of the substantial political capital Keir Starmer has invested in staying close to the Trump White House. But even more awkward for Sir Keir in domestic political terms was Tony Blair's decision to pile in with support for the Trump view of recent events. Tony's remarks that what was meant to be a private event on Friday are also read by a producer.
If they are your ally, then they are an indispensable
You must be in that wood
cornerstone
somewhere.
of security.
They just prefer to
You
preserve
better
their
show
energy
up
for
when they
sex.
want you to.
Boris, that's
That
what Boris
approach was,
is
of course, very much the one adopted by Tony Blair over the American
Yeah, they
invasion
don't seem to do
of
very well
Iraq
at
in 2003.
getting sacked,
So,
do
Foreign
they?
Secretary Yvette Cooper was asked about the comments on Laura Kuhn's show this morning. She was joining a debate involving her boss, Keir Starmer, the last Labour leader to
You would
win
have
the
to go
general
quite
election,
high,
Tony
wouldn't
Blair,
they? To get
and the
over here.
President of the United States. Unsurprisingly, perhaps, she chose her words with great care.
Having been a minister in the last Labour government, I also think it is important to learn lessons from what went wrong in Iraq and to recognise whether that is about ensuring that the purpose for any action that the UK becomes a part of, and just recognising that all of our decisions need to be about what is right for British citizens and in the UK's national interest.
So how will all this play in the Labour Party? Tharian Debonair is a Labour peer, and I asked for her reaction to Tony Blair's intervention.
I think it's deeply unhelpful, actually, if a former Prime Minister provides a running commentary on the current Prime Minister's decisions and actions. Keir's the one in the room. Keir's the one who's getting the briefings and discussing it with the current cabinet, with the current situation. Of course, America is our ally, but that does not mean unquestioningly saying yes to every single thing they ask for. I just think that Keir Starmer is doing exactly the right thing here. He's taking a level-headed, cool approach to what is an incredibly important subject and in a very volatile region.
And just returning to what Sir Tony Blair said, deeply unhelpful